So just
Okay, folks, 1 minute.
Mark said
1 minute.
Matthew thinks he.
Okay, folks, it's 12:30. Do you want to?
Half of them are in lunch. I think they're coming out. Sure.
We don't have quorum yet.
It looks like we're gonna get one any moment.
Just in moments, we'll have a quorum.
They're coming.
We have quorum.
Building. Just Martin and Doug there. Oh, there's Doug. Just Martin.
Is Mr. Lott online or no?
He
Nope.
did ask to come in
Is
that
Mike
way.
Watt online? He did? Is Mike Watt? Is he coming? He's got it.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, Chair Baker.
Good afternoon.
Wow, just like school. Isn't that nice? Okay, we have confirmation of quorum. We'll call the meeting to order. We'll acknowledge that we are located on the traditional territory of the Lakotach people. Adoption of public agenda.
Move it up.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you, Director Colburn. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Position delegations, done. Adoption of minutes.
Move adoption. Second.
Thank you. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Business arising, none. Public considerations, none. Notice motions, none. Chair's report. I've got some exciting news and update to share about the Just Like Homes Lodge Workforce Place housing. Construction notice has been distributed to nearby homes and businesses. Elaine will pass out copies to you all. While going door to door, staff heard from neighboring medical clinics that they serve. Many patients are from the North Island and they're very supportive of the lodge. It is reassuring to have this need, the consistency confirmed by the medical community. Seymour Pacific Homes has begun site preparation, including temporary construction, access, and grading. The construction schedule will start officially in September. We will be hosting a start of construction celebration event on Wednesday, September 10th, starting at 3 o'clock. Expect to hear some speeches, photo opportunities, and more. Invitations will be shared later this week, along with the news release, as media and public are welcome to attend. Need a motion to receive?
So moved.
Thank you. Thank you. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Committee chairs report. Director Wally.
Move receipt of the Electoral Area Services Committee of April 6, 2025.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. External Director Staff Reports. Director Rice.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to move receipt of the report from the Chief Administration Officer.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried.
I'd like to move item B, that the works outlined in the KWL report on the Oyster River be considered in the 2026-2030 financial plan and single participant budget discussions.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried.
I'd like to move item C, that the report be prepared to evaluate options for potential consolidation of the Oyster River Bank Protection and Flood Protection Services into a single service.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Number 2, Director Rice.
I'd like to move that the report from the Chief Administration Officer be received relating to Electoral Area D Universal Water Meter Project.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried.
I'd like to move item B, that Phase 2 of the Universal Water Meter Project be funded using $925,000 of the $1 million of capital funding identified for water system replacement and rehabilitation in the 2025-2029 financial plan.
Second.
Well, we'll give that to Director Chapman. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried.
Move item C, that the existing contract with Edgett Excavating Limited be amended to incorporate Phase 2 of the Electoral Area D Water Meter Project.
Director Mawhinney, discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Director Von Esch, number 3.
Cortez Island septage study. I move that the report from the CAO be received.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried.
I'll move that the regional district explore potential partnership opportunities with the Klahoos First Nation regarding the Cortez Island septage management study.
Second.
Director Mawhinney, discussion? All in favor?
It's just B and D.
Pardon me?
It's just B and D.
Just B and D? I'm sorry, I'm.
Yeah, just a
not following.
point of clarification, if I may, Chair.
By all means.
So it's just B and D because we're still waiting on the province on the separation of those services. Is that right, Tom?
Mr. Chairman, the bylaws that would separate electoral areas B and D from the service do not take effect until January 1st of next year. So for the time being, it's still just the 2 electoral areas.
Go. Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. Just, the only point for public watching this video, this is a septic study that was done, and it would be difficult to do alone, so we're looking at potential partnerships with Klahoos First Nation to see if they're interested in participating and making it something that can work for everybody.
Okay, thank you. So all in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Director Wally, number 4.
Concerning the community hall grant opportunity, I'd move the report from the CEO be received.
Second.
Director Colburn, discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried.
Further, I'd move that an application be submitted to the 2025 Strategic Priorities Fund grant program to develop detailed design drawings and construction of Walters Island Community Hall, and that the regional district commit to supporting the annual operating costs if the application is successful.
Second.
Director Rice, discussion? Director Wally?
Just a question for staff. Do we have any estimate of what annual operating costs might be?
No, we don't. Depends on, the application and the size of the facility, but Meredith just ran to the podium, so she might have an answer.
Thank you.
Thank you through the chair. And thank you, CAO Leach, for answering that. I think that captures it. We are using the hall in Sayward as kind of a proxy, which is about 20 to 30,000 per year. The current requisition is capped at, I think, 13,000.
And just one more little comment here. Are we still considering putting a tsunami tower on top of this?
Thank you through the chair. What this would be is that instead of having the tower on top, the structure itself would serve as the evacuation center. So it is above ground and is sufficient as a muster station, as an evacuation area. The current building is not sufficient to hold an elevated structure, which is why we've abandoned that.
Director Jack?
Yes, I was just wondering, are there going to be any electricity hooked up through this community hall? I'm just wondering because of the strain on that, because it goes through our system, and there's a big strain on there already. So I'm just wondering about electricity through there.
Through the chair, great question. Thank you for that. And as part of the application process, we're going through a consultation. And so that would be one of the questions that we're hoping to answer is the level of service that that building would provide, both from an electricity perspective, but also from a flushing toilet perspective.
All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Director Mawhinney, number 5.
Thank you, Chair. Village Bay Lake Emergency Telephone Service, move that the report from the Chief Administrative Officer be received.
Second.
Director Colburn, discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried.
I will also move B, that further research into the establishment of a service for funding an emergency telephone service for the Village Bay Lakes area of Quadra Island be discontinued for the time being.
Second.
Director Colburn, discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Director Wally, number 6.
Concerning the 2025 UBCM Convention Provincial Government Staff Meetings, I move the report from the CEO be received.
Second.
If I may, Mr. Chair, so over the course of the last month, this is a list of topics, items, ministries, and some background information on what we've collected from the EA directors and what staff has put forward. And this is what we're going to submit here shortly, I think this afternoon, in fact. So if there's anything else or any edits or modifications that directors want to make, now is the time. And if not, this is what we will submit later today.
Director Mawhinney.
Thank you, Chair. I have 2 questions about this one. One of them is I noticed that there's an item that was added from staff since we saw this report at the Electoral Area Services Committee meeting, which is regarding the Community Health Network. And it mentions that Island Health is now threatening to terminate the contract due to various reasons. And I was just wondering, like, I don't recall the board receiving any correspondence on that matter yet. And I do recall that at the June 25th board meeting, we received some strategic priorities plan for the health network, but there was concern and it was referred back to the Health and Wellness Committee. So I'm just wondering, in consideration of this item being added to the meeting requests, I have a follow-up motion just to ask for a report on that so that directors are clear on the communications and context when we head into this requested meeting with the Ministry of Health staff.
Mr. Chair, just recently we've had some dialogue back and forth with Island Health in terms of some of the issues they have with the Community Health Network. They have been directed to me. I think they're operational in nature, and I have been exchanging correspondence with them. And so I thought this would be a good time to bring this to the attention of Island Health, because I'd be curious what is going on with other health networks and bring this to the attention of the minister, and so that's what I put it in. When I'm at a point where I think it's necessary to bring to the board, I'm happy to update the board. If there's nothing to see at the end of the day, I don't want to bring it to the board. And at this point, I don't think there's anything to see, but there's reason to bring the subject up to the minister, an opportunity, certainly. It may be a dead issue by the time we get there, but I'm not certain, and I just didn't want to miss the opportunity to make a meeting request.
Okay, great. Thank you for that context. And if I have a second question, if I may, Chair, and that's just the last item on the list. It talks about red flagged private properties, and I'm just wondering if that's the correct terminology. Red flag seems to be a warning of danger, and I recently attended a 3-hour session on the province's process of reforming the Heritage Conservation Act, and I wondered if the properties concerned have showings or indications of a heritage status within a close proximity Personally, I wouldn't characterize that as a red flag, but a recognition of likely heritage values, which require further investigation. However, I'm not clear on what's going on behind the scenes, if there is a colored flagging system for private properties, but if there isn't, I would urge staff to consider other language for the request.
So if I can, Mr. Chair, yeah, happy, to change the language. I don't think the Heritage Conservation or the ministry uses that term. That's my term or shared with Director Rice. It's certainly the term of the property owner, but, happy to change that. But the using the term red flag is that it's a property indicator that the property owner and the local government isn't aware of. So in fact, we characterize it as red flag, but it's one of those unknowns to the property owner, or it isn't public information that the property has been identified as some kind of heritage site. So that's the real issue at hand in terms of how that process unfolds. But, again, happy to modify the language to refer to as, some type of, it's an identity or awareness of a property in terms of some cultural awareness, certainly.
Director Chapman?
If it helps, what if we just called it a flagged property instead of red flag? Does the red cause problems, Director Mawhinney?
It just sounds like it's, I wasn't sure if that was the appropriate terminology to be using. And I will agree that the Heritage Conservation Act has not been updated, I think, for close to 30 years, and that's why they're undertaking a significant review. And I would just let you know that there is another engagement session coming up on September 17th, and the province is really looking for stakeholders to engage. So I'm happy to share that information later if anyone wants it.
Just some context, if I may, Mr. Chair, on this one. There's a property in Area D that the owner has come forward to the director and ourselves that his property was at some point identified as I'll say, culturally sensitive site, identified. And the property owner or local government isn't aware of it, and the process of identifying these is of some concern to a number of property owners that have these identified, and so that's the impetus of having the issue brought forward, is that your property without you knowing it or being informed of it can be identified as a culturally sensitive heritage site. And as you move forward with some plans to develop or do something on your property, at that point it's revealed to you, and that process can seem unfair to property owners.
Recognizes it's certainly not going to, I think it's totally appropriate.
I've noticed this actually in the city of Canberra with respect to identification of environmentally sensitive areas with respect to bird nesting, is there's a lack of administrative fairness. People aren't being notified. There's a right to be heard. There's a right to put your own case in forward. And those mechanisms don't exist in a lot of these identification processes. So at least I agree that we have to at least talk about what's fair to people to be involved and whether they have a right to reply. And there's a greater concept in terms of this is for the common good, who bears the cost? Should it be the actual property owner? Or should it be something that's supported more by the province to compensate people if they find themselves protecting culturally sensitive sites without pre-notice? Right. So, but my other one is going to come up with the correspondence section under P1, which is the City of Canberra's resource initiative to encourage the province to work with resource communities to have a seat at the table. And so I see we have a meeting with the Minister of Forests, but it's broader than that in terms that I don't want anything that's going to be contradictory to what the City of Canberra is going, and if we can as a group pass some sort of resolution with respect to the letter the city has sent to the regional district with respect to our initiatives at UBCM. It's a major initiative for the City of Canberra to ensure that the province has adequate resource community consultation going forward. So I don't know if that impacts the staff meetings, but I want to know what you think on the process today.
I don't, if I may, Mr. Chair, I don't think so. Specifically with this one, I don't I don't see any conflict in terms of this. It has to do with, you know, individual properties being identified. I mean, you characterize it better than I can. That's exactly the issue, is properties being identified without a, you know, open, transparent process or opportunity for the property owner to be aware of it. And then when they do something or move forward with the property, at that point it's identified, and that creates significant challenge. So I don't see the resource discussion conflicting.
That was a separate one,
Okay.
sorry. That was because you have a Minister of Forests operational division meeting, and I didn't want some of our other initiatives to
Right.
sort of be not inclusive once we get to that item later in the agenda, and when the board has a discussion
okay.
of what that means for us.
First, Director Jack, and then Director Rice.
Thank you. Yes, just in regards to culturally sensitive areas and things like that, we've gone through this process with a couple of properties within our treaty lands. And we were going through the process through BC, but it was shorter for us just to buy the properties, which we have in a couple cases. And it kind of worked out for everybody, I guess, in some sense. But that was the shortest route in dealing with it, was the nation buying it. And we've done that with a couple of them within our treaty area. But we're so remote, so it was kind of easy. You know, out here, there's a lot more to deal with, you know, just in regard to property owners and surrounding properties and things like that. But that's how one way we dealt with it, was just to approach the owner, and then, yeah, we've included it in our treaty lands, so that's the process we took anyway. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Rice?
Thank you, Chair. I don't have a problem changing the wording to flag, but these properties now are in jeopardy. I mean, what happens now is, now that this property's been identified as being of possible interest, these owners have to now, if they decide not to move forward with their developments and they wish to sell, they now have to disclose that on their disclosure statements. So that is definitely a red flag, no matter how you would put it out there. And, you know, again, it's the method in which this is being done. They claim that because it's of possible interest, you know, heritage-wise, that they need to have this great deal of privacy and secrecy around it. So these property owners literally do not know until the day they come into the SRD here and try and pull a development permit, and that's when they're notified. And then what do? And again, you know, all I'm trying to do, you know, on behalf of my constituents is get some clarity. What is going to be the process to ensure that these property owners retain the value of their lands that they've purchased, that they're not going to see a decrease in their assessments for it, that they don't have to go out of pocket, you know, in huge amounts of money just to move some development forward on their properties. So again, happy to change the wording, but believe me, these properties, if you actually step back and take a look, they are red flagged. The minute we have to disclose that on disclosure statements if we want to sell, that's quite a detriment. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Director Schweik?
Yeah, just a quick logistics question on it. How is the regional district getting these flagged properties? How are they learning about it and filing them?
Well, when we will be notified, as I understand, through the building permit process on a referral, like we don't know about them. We do. Can you explain? Because I don't understand.
Thank you, through the chair. The regional district is provided a mapping platform as part of our RGS services. So in-house, we are aware of those properties that have been identified by the archaeological branch as having potential interest or significant interest over those properties. However, we are not allowed to share that information publicly over our mapping system. So it isn't until someone actually comes into the regional district to apply for a building permit or a development permit, that these property owners are then notified that there is a significant interest, and then they need to address or connect with the archaeological branch to see if the archaeological branch has additional requirements as part of their application, whether or not they need to do an archaeological impact assessment or an overview assessment, or have somebody come out there and confirm that there isn't an interest at this time. However, always notified that during any sort of development, if anything is uncovered, that work will stop until the ARC branch can step in. So we do have a mapping layer that we are provided, but it is confidential in nature. We don't share that out, and we're not privy to that. No one's privy to that information until there is an application that comes through the regional district.
Any other? Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for that response. That was helpful. And I'm just trying to articulate in my mind to figure it out. So the archaeological branch, they sit down, they have a map that they make up on their own, nobody on the site. That map is confidential. And then when a property comes up with a permit within that map, then the owner.
Kind of. So what, I won't give, the address or the property, but activity happened around this property, as we understand, and information as a result of that activity, or what they found, is reported to the archaeological branch. So that then flags or identifies the property as a potential site. And then, as Aniko says, that mapping is uploaded. So then nothing happens. The property owner isn't notified. Nobody knows. And then the person comes in, let's say it's bare land, and they make a building permit application. At that point, it's identified that the property has been identified as a culturally sensitive site, and XYZ needs to happen before the permit. So then, as you can imagine, the property owner is not too thrilled. They're all prepped to build on this, and they come in here. We don't really know about it because we don't examine every property. We look at the property and go, okay, you've got to do this. And there's a number of unknowns that go along with that. Like, they don't know for certain how much or how long that process is going to cost or take. So you can imagine people aren't too thrilled when they come in at that point of looking to develop their land. They find this, and they're hitting a roadblock of time and money that there's no definitive answers for them. So, as Director Sinnott says, it's more about process, and it's not super transparent. And again, I think they do it with the intent of protecting these sites as potentially culturally sensitive sites, but in doing so creates some significant issues for the homeowners. And as we understand as well, there's a bit of, I'm butchering this, but when that site has been identified, a larger circle with a bigger radius is put around, and it might touch other properties. And so those people don't know about anything. They're not notified either. And who knows, they could come back 10 years later and go, the circle touched your property, you have to do X, Y, Z. So it's really about the process and the lack of transparency to the property owners.
Director Davis.
Thanks, Chair. So based on that, if you own a property, do you have the right to that knowledge? Can you make the inquiry regardless of whether you're applying for a permit?
I don't believe so. The people that have come forward to us have it doesn't show on their title, and you don't know what to ask for. You don't know what to look for or ask for if you don't know what's out there. So I don't know if they have a right, but I don't know what the path would be that, for them to inquire, or whether they would be privy to that until the point comes where that's been identified to them through a building permit application that this needs to happen.
So it's considered confidential unless you're applying for some development that could impact it?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
It's not public information, that's for certain.
Director Chapman.
I appreciate the discussion, and I just want to say that the lack of transparency is alarming. Moreover, if there's something they want to register against the property, it should be in land titles. And then the owners then should be notified. I think this is a bunch of baloney of the secrecy that occurs on this. I think it should be upfront. And if there is something, they should be put on land titles.
And I think, again, that's the, what is inspired Director Rice to say, hey, look, let's talk EBCM, make these folks aware of the challenges they're having. And as Director Mawhinney has stated there, they're modifying this act. However, when I participated for a short time on their one session, and it sounds like it's getting expanded, it didn't seem like the transparency was, from my take, was increasing. It sounded like it was going to become more of a process, a common process for most, if not all, properties. Robin, you were on it longer than I was. You can maybe better characterize where you think it's going.
I felt like they're definitely moving towards more transparency, and one of the issues right now is, we're talking about the areas not being publicly known. I think that's also to protect those sites, because there is concerns that there might be people that go, if there's a map that shows potential sites, that they would be going and digging or disturbing these heritage values. But they're really talking about maybe right now there's 3 different times or 3 different ways that people have to have a meeting or a intervention from different branches of the province, and they're going to be turning it into one so that it is more streamlined and more clear. And one of the issues with this act, which is 30 years old, is that First Nations don't even have the right to take things off of those sites when they may be in danger of, have come out of a bank and maybe they're going to be washed away or fall apart, and they're not allowed to pick them up themselves. So there's clearly quite a lot of issues with this old act, and they are working on streamlining it. And they are also talking about adding more layers of transparency. There was a mention of even potentially, I'm not sure how much I'm supposed to say, but they're definitely working on transparency as well.
Director Rice?
Thank you, Chair. Just, without disclosing too much information, just to show you how non-transparent this is what is the process that actually needs to take place to have a property flagged? What I can tell you in the case in Area D, it was BC Hydro changing a pole on right-of-way that they have granted to them. They located something while they were changing the pole. They were permitted to change the pole, no problem, but the surrounding properties got flagged. That's how this happened. So where's the transparency in that? Okay? And I think that when we go back and take a look at the other properties that are being affected in Area D, it all stems from the same thing. And that circle just keeps getting bigger. And again, all I'm asking is, what is the process? And, how do these owners basically satisfy their investments that they have with their properties and can move forward? And if they can't, then what's the remedies? Thank you.
Director Sennett?
Do we want to have staff with a potential solution or position? It seems to me that the risk should not be borne by homeowners who don't go in with any knowledge of these. But if the province has a mandate to protect cultural sites, it's the province who should wear the risk, and they should also provide a guarantee to mortgage lenders, because I could perceive that no one's going to get a mortgage on any properties anywhere near streams and coastal areas with this cloud on title. So the province is opening up a big problem. And if they don't find a solution that they're going to back it, because that's what the Land Title Act used to do. You used to say your title is your title, and now they're clouding it. So they've got to make up their mind. What do they want? And who wears it? Because I can't see how a buyer without knowledge should be the vulnerable person in this case for economic stability on the coast. Anyway, I think maybe we should come up with a solution, which is go ahead, but make people whole if you put them in that position.
Yeah, I think if I can, Mr. Chair, I don't know if we have a solution, but that was the intent of the meeting, to bring it forward and put onto the province to come up with a solution. You're right. I think people think they buy a property, they look at the disclosure, it says what is or isn't on it, they're good to go if there's nothing, and it doesn't seem like that's the case. So to bring that to their attention and put the solution onto the province to say you need to come up with a solution through your modification of this process that provides transparency, right? Because the other thing is, when it does, your property is identified, it most certainly has less value to it or more challenging to sell because of the unknowns associated with that, right? Like you don't know how long, you don't know what, like Director Jack was saying, that the nation had purchased the property. Well, these properties, as we understand, you don't know what's on it yet. So maybe there's something, maybe there isn't, right? You do some exploratory work, and so there's a lot of unknowns that the homeowner is put upon them when they could have bought this one individual, I think, bought the property 10, 20 years ago. So we can all appreciate the challenges that go with that. So to put that in front of the ministry and say, you have to incorporate some solutions or some transparency to this, because you can see the predicament that folks are in once they already have and have invested in these properties.
No, Director Schmidt first. You're good?
Me?
Yes.
Lights on.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I do have something.
Okay. That was Director Lanyon and then Director Mawhinney.
Annika, can you just clarify how you find out about the red flag?
Thank you, through the chair. Our GIS database is uploaded on a specific term with any changes to the archaeological branches ARC site layers. So we aren't per se notified, but as our GIS layers are uploaded, those changes are made internally. So it wouldn't be like in the instance that Director Rice was referring to. That was a more recent change to a property. So had we looked at that property 2 years ago, we wouldn't have had any indication that there was any concern there. It wasn't until this work was done within the road right-of-way that these considerations were made within the ARC branch and then adjusted on the layers that were provided. So we aren't really notified, but our mapping layers are amended as the ARC branch amends those layers. So unless we're specifically looking at a particular property, we wouldn't have any indication that there was an interest or that an interest had changed.
Just follow up to that. You'd mentioned that it's confidential. Where does that directive come from?
Again, through the chair, similarly to nesting sites and such, it's a provincial mandate, so we don't share bird nesting sites, heron rookeries, eagle nests, those sorts of things, similarly to ARC sites, in order to protect those sites from any potential damage from the public. So it is a provincial directive.
Okay, so there's actual legislation governing the use of that information?
Yeah, don't ask me to look it up right now, but certainly that's...
Can you please confirm? Because a lot of what I have to say would just depend on who's making us do that or not. If it's us internally, then I would say we should proactively release that information. And I have a counter argument to Director Mawhinney's argument about how not disclosing protects, because in the case of archaeological sites, if I have a property that is, like, not to my knowledge, part of that system, and I decide to put in a very large garden bed, and so without a permit required, I till up a half an acre, I could easily destroy something really important. So I think that argument cuts both ways and points more towards, pending the result of your feedback on directive, It cuts more towards the government avoiding scrutiny as opposed to protecting the site. Thank you.
Okay, Director Mawhinney, then Director Smythe, and then Director Colburn. Please fasten your seatbelts.
Okay. Buckled up. Thank you, Chair, and thank you also to Director Lanyon for your points. I just wanted to say that I think you make a really valid point about gardening, and I think from my understanding that the more of the concern is about looting the site. So yeah, it definitely cuts both ways. What I wanted to mention was that during the Heritage Conservation Act meeting, the 3-hour meeting that I was in, it was put together by the Ministry of Forests. And this meeting that's being requested is with the Ministry of Indigenous Relations and Reconciliation. So I'm just wondering if you're going to the right ministry for the discussion.
Yeah, we might not. Thank you for reminding us of that. We will double check that, because who would have thought this is a Ministry of Forest item, right? Like that seems super odd, but yeah, thanks for that.
Hey, Director Smythe.
Yeah, thanks. I'm comfortable with the red flag terminology, but I do want to turn attention to the ask for the Ministry of Forests. And just reading on here, I think this is in pretty direct conflict of what, or opposite of what the City of Camp River is going to be asking in their meeting. So like we're asking for more consultation with Quadra for remote communities on logging. We're going to be asking the ministry to actually reduce red tape and ease up permitting for the logging industry. So the two are conflicting each other. So this particular part of the motion here, I can't support.
Hey, Director Colburn.
I just wanted to comment with appreciation for Director Sennett's comment. Yes, everything to do with lands lies within Ministry of Forests. They control the land base of BC. And so coming to them with a solution, I think, is an appropriate kind of ask for them to peel back some of those layers and maybe change some of their inner policies that would allow the information to be shared. Just because in my experience, when you ask for things without a solution, even if it's an outlandish solution, you kind of tend to get, shuffled to the side, and we all know how productive some UBCM meetings can be or not. And so just with adding that as kind of a solution there, I think it would be appropriate. So I'm just speaking in favor of Director Sennett's comment.
Thank you, Director. Oh, go ahead, CAO.
So I just wanted to address Director Smythe's comments there to just bring some clarity to process for UBCM. So 2 sets of meetings at UBCM. One's with ministers, bring it to the board and say collectively what are our issues, and we make requests for minister meetings, of which some get accepted, some don't. Next level is staffing level, which you have greater ability to get staff meetings. And so what we've tried to do for convenience is take the requests mostly from directors. You can see I've added one on there, and say, can we bundle these and make these requests? If these are denied, let's say they just say we don't have time for it, we're not interested, they don't meet with it. The individual directors can still go at UBCM and request a staff meeting. So on the item that you've brought here, let's say either the board supports it or not, or the ministry says the staff doesn't have time for it, the director from Quadra can go to the table and say, hey, I'd like to have a meeting on XYZ, make an appointment, and go speak to it. So we don't have a lot of governance in terms of, I would say, the staffing levels. You can't go make a ministry meeting. What those are and what the board sets are done. You can't back channel that. But these certainly you can. So that's why I've put them just for information, because if the board doesn't support it, that's fine, but it's not going to ensure that a director can't go lobby individually against, let's say, what Campbell River is doing or some other area. That's just the liberty of that process. So that's just for information.
Director Von Esch.
Thank you, Chair. Just going back to the archaeological sites, it sounded like we have the data in our systems of where these sites are. And I'm wondering if it's possible, rather, releasing it publicly, if we can pull that information and say, okay, here are the 20 properties in the SRD that are being affected by this, and just go directly notify the property owners.
Well, I think there's two things with that. One, again, as Director Lanyon brought up, I can assure you it's not an internal process that we're withholding. We would be respecting a provincial organization, whether it's legislative or not. We'll find out the difference to that. If they're just asking us kindly, that's quite a bit different than legislation. The second of all, what Annika's alluded to is that they'll update the mapping. Maybe that update has 1 property, 2 properties, 28 properties. We would have to scour the entire thing so they don't go, hey, we've updated in these 16 properties. So without us doing that, we won't know. And the only way we'll know is if somebody comes in an application, we search that one and stars align, right?
So there's no way for us to just pull all the property?
No.
Thanks.
Director Sennett?
Yes, thank you. I think the concern of Director Smythe and myself and probably the Campbell River delegation is because we're proposing to move forward with a resource town initiative. And we don't want to have a board support from the SRD on this one item that's contradictory to potentially something the board might support later. That's the only, I think, concern you have. It's fine for individual directors if they want to do that, but we don't want to make this a staff initiative if we're not in support of it. So I guess their option is to amend, if we have a motion that this goes forward, to amend that one item out, or if we can reconsider it later on, but I'm not sure what the process would be when we get to item P1.
I think your first option would be that, to make a motion, have the board vote on it, and just knowing whatever that vote is, individual directors still have the liberty to go make meetings themselves.
Okay, and I just have a follow-up. The City of Campbell River's mapping does identify all the nesting locations for the raptors if they can. So homeowners can potentially identify. It's not easy to find, but it is there. And so the environmentally sensitive areas do impact, according to the city bylaws, substantial property locations, and the bullseyes are available on the city mapping site, so you can actually see when they're found and designated if your property's affected. Same issue though. I mean, these are being identified by various people who have a vested interest, then thereafter making money on monitoring those sites. So we got a lot of work to do, I think, on all sorts of clouds that end up on title, both at the city and the regional.
Okay, still on receipt. Director Moini?
Thank you, Chair. It does sound like there's some concern from some of the Campbell River directors here today that myself as an electoral area director have requested a meeting with the particular department within the Ministry of Forests to discuss the concerns of my constituents, which are that they're specifically related to impacts on water, drinking water, and wildfire risk. And I appreciate that I can continue to go to UBCM and request that meeting. But, you know, as far as I can tell, on our agenda, there is no notice of motion regarding anything to do with resource-dependent communities or creating some sort of working group, if that's what I caught from Director Sinnett's comments. The only thing that I can see under P1 is a letter that was copied to the regional district from the City of Campbell River regarding forest policy, and it's here for receipt as correspondence. So I would be in favor of moving to accept all of these community and electoral area director meeting requests as they stand on this list. Thank you.
Okay, on receipt. All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. B.
I move that the topic submitted on behalf of electoral area directors for meetings with provincial ministry staff as identified in Appendix A, the staff report dated August 11, 2025 be received.
Second.
Director Moini, discussion? All in favor? Opposed? We have 3, 4. Okay, so we have Director Sennett, Director Smythe, Director Lanyon, Director Chapman. Pardon me? Opposed? Yeah, you got that? Okay. 5 opposed. Oh. And Being. So the motion's carried. I opposed. Thank you. Okay, number 7, Director Senate.
I'll make a motion that the report from the CEO be received regarding Regional District Policy Review Part 2.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried.
I'll make a motion that policy number 27, use of corporate letterhead, as shown highlighted in the attachment to the August 14th, 2025 report from the CAO be revoked.
Director Wally, discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion's carried.
And that policies 1, 21, and 45, as shown highlighted in the attachment to the August 14th, 2025 report from the CEO, be incorporated as amendments to the board's meeting procedure bylaw for further consideration by the board.
Second.
Director Colburn, discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried.
And that policy number 32 was shown highlighted in the August 14th, 2025 report from the CAO be be revoked and the CAO be authorized to determine acceptable uses and priorities for the Regional District Boardroom.
Second.
Director Colburn, discussion? Director Mawhinney?
Thank you, Chair. It does sound as if the intent of this motion is essentially the same as the use of the policy that we are here. And to me, the advantage of a policy is that the CAO authority to determine boardroom usage is codified, where if it's embedded in a policy versus solely a motion, which could, memory of which could be displaced over time. So I'm just curious why there is a recommendation to revoke the policy. Is it too restrictive on the uses of the room, or what was the thought on that? Because it does give the CAO ultimate control over booking the room still.
Yeah, I think, if I may, Mr. Chair, control might be maybe not the right word, just liberties, if you will. Look, there's lots of times there's organizations that, are needing use of a boardroom facility that has the technology, and they don't have any money in there, members of the community and taxpayers and citizens. And so we're quite liberal, given that the boardroom is empty a majority of the time, to create a facility for, organizations to be able to use this without a cost.
Any further discussion? Director Senate?
Yeah, I'm all in favor of making all policies as loose as possible because we trust our CAO and the administration, because you just run into more problems the more detailed you get. If we don't have faith in our administration, then we can always go back and revise policies. But you start from a broad sort of point of view in governance and let your CAO run the place. And if you run into problems, then you can deal with it. That's my comment.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried.
And I'll make a motion that policy number 44 be converted from a Strathcona Regional District policy to a Comox Strathcona Regional District policy to a Strathcona Regional District policy in return for further consideration by the board.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Director Lanyon, number 8, please.
Number 8, I move that the report from the Chief Administrative Officer be received.
Second.
Director Chapman, discussion? Director Mawhinney first.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to congratulate the Chief Financial Officer, Mike Harmston, and the entire financial team, because I think that's really great to have received this award, and add a thank you to the congratulations, because I do find the financial plan relatively easy to understand, and it provides residents and directors with a clear view of the SRD's financial plan.
You, Director Chapman?
I was going to say basically the same thing, except I was going to include all senior staff, because everyone contributes to it. So congratulations, everyone.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion's carried. Director Colburn, number 9.
I would move that the report from the CAO be received on the North Island 911 Corp shareholder invoice.
Second.
Director Rice, discussion?
If I can, Mr. Chair, just for information, if folks are curious why this is here, these numbers and invoices that we have just exceed the CEO's purchasing policy and must be endorsed by the board.
Further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion's carried.
And that the August 1st, 2025 invoice from North Island 911 Corp. regarding the semi-annual installment of costs for 911 services be approved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Director Morwinny, number 10.
Thank you, Chair. Land availability for housing on Quadra Island. I will move that the report from the Chief Administrative Officer be received.
Second.
Director Varnesh, discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. B.
Thank you, Chair. I'll move that a report be prepared that identifies Crown public land that may be suitable for affordable and attainable housing development on Quadra Island and options for moving forward with such development if parcels are identified.
Second.
Discussion?
Just quickly, you didn't say crown, did you? Did I hear that word?
I did say Crown. That was part of the original motion that was made at East.
Okay.
Which differs from the one that we have.
Yeah, I felt
that's-
like it might be a little bit broad to just ask for a report on all land that could be suitable, because I feel like that's, like a lot of that's like
I think
private
we
land.
had discussion that you wanted it to be more broad, and the crown part was more limiting.
Okay.
I think you want to not add the crown land, in my opinion, based on our discussion.
Okay. I was concerned that the report would end up just showing a map of all the private property on Quadra Island.
Who knows, it might, I mean, but again, a crown one can be quite limiting. Let's say if they're like, all crown land there's the caveat on releasing it, due to First Nations consultation or treaty, who knows, right? It could be quick. I think we talked about removing the crown part.
Okay, well, I'm willing to make an amendment to remove the Crown.
Would you like to reread the motion, please?
Oh, sure. That a report be prepared that identifies land that may be suitable for affordable and attainable housing development on Quadra Island and options for moving forward with such development if parcels are identified.
Second.
Director Varnesh, discussion? Director Sinnott.
Yeah, so is this going to be coming out of the EA planning budget, this type of work, or is this general to the entire SRD?
Well, I think likely EA, because we'll be looking for area and lands within Area C.
Okay, Director Chapman.
Thank you, Chair. I'm confused. So we're going to search Quadra Island for lands not developed that could be developed. And then what are we going to do with that information? Are we going to approach the owners and say you should be developing, or what are we going to do with this?
I'll take some liberties, then I'll if I'm wrong, I'll let the director. So I think the intent was to look at lands, I'm going to say, private lands. I know the Cortez Housing Corp has done something similar successfully. Looked at, they can be developed lands, they can be lands with houses, multiple houses, no houses on it, and look at the potential of developing that into an affordable housing development and bringing those that would have some potential forward. So let's just say, just to be a little bit foolish, there was a waterfront property on a half acre for sale for $2 million. It was on a rock bluff. That quickly would be dismissed and wouldn't see anything affordable. But let's say there was a house with a secondary dwelling on 5 acres, and it was $600,000, and it had potential to be purchased and developed. Maybe that would be something that would be identified and brought forward for potential. That's what I would think we would do.
Director Chapman.
If I can follow up, so identified and brought forward to whom? The board or some developer?
Not the I think the intention was the board, like internal. But I mean, I think anything's possible. But I think the intention was to bring it to the board. Then say.
Then what's the board going to do with it?
Maybe say explore it further. I don't know. Depends on what's brought forward.
I know I'm being difficult. I don't mean to be. But does staff have the time capacity to do this?
Well, I don't think, I mean, having gone to East, I was just scouring Realtor on Quadra. It's not like there's 700 properties over there. I think fairly quickly you might be able to identify one or two. And as the director said, to explore Crown lands and explore if even opportunities exist with Crown lands. I think that can be done pretty quickly. Either they're going to say yes or no, or it's a crazy lengthy process. I think we can thin the herd pretty quickly on potential opportunities.
Director Mawhinney.
Thank you, Chair. I'm not sure if Director Chapman had a chance to read the report that was attached to there, the one that I submitted to the Electoral Area Services Committee, but really this report that I brought forward stems from me searching the BC IMAP website for Quadra Island looking for Crown land, because having conversations with ministry officials previously about housing and hearing them say, well, if you can find Crown land, let us know, because that's an easier win. And you may recall that last year we attempted to pursue a parcel that is Crown or public land, which has a right of refusal or something like that on title for the school district. And the school district, although it was only a 5-acre parcel split by a road, they were not interested in stepping away from that parcel for the long term. So I am committed to seeking solutions for attainable and affordable housing on Quadra Island. And that's why I spent my time and found this another Crown parcel, and there's actually a map of it in the report which I submitted. So that was the impetus for this report. I'm comfortable with taking the suggestion from the CAO and expanding the consideration, and I think that's a great idea, but that was really the beginning and the spark for this.
Thank you. Director Rice.
Thank you, Chair. I'm still trying to see what the end game on this is, and unfortunately, I don't see one. The first thing that came to my mind, even when I read your report, is what is your public record on housing? That's the first thing that came to my mind. And I'm not going to go into the details. I know that this is a public meeting, but applicants in Area D have had how much of their time and their money wasted? And for what purpose? And I guess you could say the same thing on Quadra. So no, I'm not interested in supporting this. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Director Von Esch.
I just want to add to the conversation before it gets too heated here. You know, we have a housing service. We've identified as a regional district that housing is needed in our district, and it's a priority. You know, this is a kind of just a simple step to see what some options are on Quadra. We're all in this together. We all know we need housing. This just seems like an easy yes to me. Thank you.
Director Sennett.
Yes, thank you very much, Chair. I'm not sure this is a good use of staff time if it's not going to take too much time and it's going to be borne by the EA functions. For the cost of it, I'm probably okay. The City of Camberg, of course, goes out and we try and encourage affordable housing through all the different programs, BC Builds, working with our not-for-profits, all these different organizations. And we, because we're involved in the community, we know people and we facilitate things if we can. So it's a much more personal thing than just asking staff who generally don't know the business community or the landowners or the people who have desires to do that. It's actually you guys who should know these people or have relationships with them to bring it forward to staff to investigate, a potential property that's for sale. So, I'm not super encouraged that staff are going to get very far in finding these leads and these potentials. But, if you guys are paying for it, I'm fine. If it just doesn't seem to me the most practical way to get what you want to get, which is more housing. And if you really follow the trends, more housing, more housing, more housing, not just affordable housing, all kinds, all types. Because if you create a community where it encourages development, then more people will be coming in because you'll have more housing, period, and then it lifts everybody up. Because even if you build a middle housing, that person moves up and opens up the space in the lower housing. And that's how you solve housing crises, not just by one little area, because there's a lot of red tape and a lot of process, all housing. And you have to actually decide amongst yourselves whether you're going to be a little bit more free with having housing developed even by developers until you get your benchmark of vacancy rates. Because if you want to constrain everything at the outset, we already know government is a huge barrier right now to develop housing. So I'll vote for it, but I'm just saying you might want to also consider different ways of proceeding generally.
Director Wally?
Yes, I just take a moment to remind Director Sinnott that Quadra is kind of a unique situation. They don't have an abundant supply of water to be able to support large population increase and development. That's be very specific, and there's probably an immediate need for some affordable housing there. But the number that is going to be built has to be limited.
Okay, Director Von Asch.
Thank you, Chair. I appreciate the comments from Director Sinnott. The private market certainly has a role in creating housing. And my philosophy around it is there's not one solution. That's part of it. Making more opportunities for rentals is part of it. Cortez has just gone through a zoning bylaw review process. Is going to make a significant impact on being able to build nonprofit housing. I just want to point out that I think the housing solution it'd be nice if we could just say, we just need to do this one thing. But in my experience, it's a lot of things that all have small impacts and add up. And I think that's what we're trying to do here. Thank you.
Okay, so still on 10B. Director Lanyon?
Thank you. Okay, so this is in my report as mainly focusing on Crown land. And we heard from the CAO that that's not probably worth delving into, just given all of the political context around Crown land right now. So then we're back to private land. Director Mawhinney expressed that I think we're just going to end up with a map of all the private land, which we already have access to. So I'm hearing a wild goose chase that's going to be very short and pointless. And then I guess it will come back to the whole board to look at it again, but we got other things to do. So I don't think there's any point in pushing ahead with this. And actually, I do know of something that's going to be coming your way.
Oh, well, I know.
A private, yeah. So,
Nice.
But you have to say yes. So,
I haven't even heard about it yet.
you will. But yeah, so I kind of have to echo Director Rice's comments too, because you said no to other projects. I wasn't aware that there's actually a water shortage that is causing a restriction on, anytime soon on population. I would like to know more about that if that's true, because that may shape some of my thinking on Quadra as well, if that's verifiable. As it stands at this moment, I do not want staff sent on a demoralizing wild goose chase that they know from the get-go is pointless. It's bad for staff.
Okay, Director Chapman?
Well, as usual, Director Wally is a wealth of knowledge, and I didn't know there was a water shortage on Quadra. maybe we should be looking at that and solving that problem so that developers would be more interested in developing over there. Yes, is that what you said, Director Wally? Yeah.
Okay, on 10B, all in favor? Opposed? Good, Director Rice, keep your hands up, please. Director Rice, Director Jack, Director Kerr, Director Sinnott, Director Smythe, Director Lanyon, Director Chapman. Seven opposed, so it's defeated. So the motion is defeated. Number 11. I'm sorry? Director Sinnott, did you have your hand up?
Well, I was very interested in the last commentary by Director Chapman, and potentially we should schedule something for consideration or a staff report on if there are impediments to development on Quadra. Is there anything that we can look at for that?
Well, if I can, Mr. Chair, so there's a couple things that relate to water. Is one, we've had a report on doing some well drilling and exploratory work. It's very expensive, a lot of wells to be drilled, a lot of expense towards it, and nowhere for the money to come from at this point. That's one challenge, and then not knowing what you're going to get. The other thing is that we've had line of sight on is a community water system. And a need for that because of the Island Health rules in terms of delivering water. And the barrier to that, again, is money. I won't say it's not related to a volume or amount of money, but in my mind, and I've said this a number of times, those can both be achievable, but without a development partner, they're impossible. So if the board wanted some information on that, it's going to cost us a ton of money to do. And I don't think there's the will or appetite for that, knowing what you don't get. If and when there's a development partner, then I think it's definitely worth doing, because you're going to have somebody that has an interest in land, has some density, and then if you invest in something, you have somebody there that is willing to invest with that as well. But just on our own, it's going to cost us a ton of money, and it not exactly going to lead to anything, but possibly information.
Okay, Director Colburn, then Director Mawhinney.
And just possibly, I don't know if there are certain keywords that people could search on the portal or anything like that for previous reports that speak to, allude to some of these issues, but, I'm well aware of them, and I'd assumed that everybody else was too. So there are reports that have been released that I don't know if we could search keywords or something like that, or if staff could give us just that so that we could do it ourselves. Just an idea.
Director Mawhinney.
Thank you, Chair. Water is a huge concern on Quadra Island for the residents. In fact, I just wanted to share that we have a water security team on Quadra, which has several hydrologists and a hydrogeologist, and they have been working with a professor from Vancouver Island University for multiple years. They've been mapping the aquifers, and they've been mapping wetlands and learning where the recharge areas are. And a lot of folks used to think that the water on Quadra kind of maybe like came from the Coast Range and went underground and bubbled up into our aquifers. And it's been quite clearly stated now that all the water that Quadra Island has is water that falls as rain and manages to seep into the aquifers before it runs off in a ephemeral creek or something. So there is definitely water concern. There's a lot of community members who are actively advocating for water conservation, water storage, and I think that's a really big topic when we're working on our official community plan as well. So yes, water is a huge concern for Quadra Island, especially when you look south to the other Gulf Islands, Hornby, Denman, and further south, where they're having a lot of water shortages, and they're asking their visitors to not shower while they're visiting maybe, and don't do laundry while you're here, and there's wells which are being infiltrated with salt water on some of the Gulf Islands as well. So it is a very real concern.
Okay, number 11, Director Chapman. Oh, sorry, one more. Director Von Esch.
I just wanted to add that on Cortez, we through the Housing Society, have done an aquifer study where we've employed a contractor to look at the health of our aquifers and map our aquifers and look at well data as well as doing some monitoring. And that report is coming out this week as we are looking at potentially approving a new zoning bylaw that does have some modest density increases in it. It has been an important step in our process. Thank you.
Somebody else have their hand up? Nope.
I'll pass.
You'll pass? Okay. Number 11, Director Chapman.
Chair, I move that the report from the Chief Administrative Officer concerning municipal participation in electoral area planning be received.
Second.
Mr. Chair, if I may, again, this is a report based on a request from the board to look at participation in municipal planning service. Reason it took a little bit longer is to us, it was just some uncertainty in the act about joining a service and withdrawing from the service and the timing of what that could be. And so the legal opinion gave some clarity on that, and happy to answer any questions.
Okay, Director Sinnott, then Director Chapman.
Yes, thank you, Chair. So I looked at this report and it sounded like there was a date. It's the end of August to participate, make a decision. Is that correct?
Mr. Chairman, if I could respond, the legal opinion that we received basically says there is no specific deadline for rejoining. When a municipality has a contract in place with the regional district for partial participation, which no municipality in this region does currently, then there are deadlines in terms of when they can rejoin as a full member or leave altogether. But other than that, the Act really doesn't speak to any specific deadlines.
Okay, excellent. So then I'm going to have a follow-up motion.
Director Chapman.
I was just going to say that I'll have a subsequent, but maybe we'll let the previous speaker do that first.
Okay, Director Sinnott.
After receipt, I'll bring my motion.
Okay, on receipt, all in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Director Sinnott.
Well, seeing there's no deadline, I make a motion to refer it back to the Municipal Services Commission for review and interest of the various municipalities if they're interested in joining the planning function with the SRD.
Second.
Director Chapman, discussion. Director Von Esch.
Yeah, I just have a question for the folks that brought this forward. My understanding is the municipalities already have a planning function. I'm just confused as to why you might want to join when you already have your own planning service. And looking at this report, it's looking at Campbell River paying $500,000 for something that they already have. And given, tight budgets everywhere and being conservative with our tax dollars and responsible, just curious as to the sort of reasoning behind it.
Did you want to respond, Director Sinnott?
Well, I don't think we're sure yet because our CA might have ideas of her own on the recommendation to meet our strategic priorities. We have general strategic priorities of safety and housing and staff capacity and things, and we bring those into consideration as to whether this assists Campbell River in meeting its objectives. So the region is important to Campbell River, and we are an unfortunate region where we are so dominant that what happens in the region does impact us because we're paying a good amount of money for it. So it's a consideration we have to look at, but no determination at this point.
Okay, Director Wally.
Just a question for Mr. Yates. The legal report saying that there's no requirement on a specific date, but would it be reasonable to assume it would have to be before the budget is finalized?
Well, Mr. Chairman, I think that would be a matter for discussion at the board. I don't think, like I say, there's nothing in the Act that specifies one way or the other, so I think that would be something the board would have to look at.
Okay, so on the motion, Director Mawhinney?
Thanks, Chair. I did read the report and the accompanying legal opinion, and something that I wasn't clear on, the process piece was, is it required that a municipality bring a certified resolution from their council, or is it just a motion from a director that would include a municipality potentially?
Mr. Chairman, I can answer that. I believe the intent would be for a certified resolution from the council that would clearly indicate the wishes of the municipality.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, just hadn't clarified that in the report.
Okay, so all in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Number 12, Director Von Esch.
Emergency Services Public Art Projects, Cortez Island. I move that the report from the CAO be received.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried.
I'll move that Kim Marks be awarded the contract to paint 2 murals on the water tanks located at the Settle Point Solar Road on Cortez Island.
Second.
Discussion? Director Von Esch?
I just want to thank SRD staff for leading this process and getting community members to be on the jury for this, and also appreciate, I think it was 8 applicants that put their submissions in towards this. So thanks very much to everyone, and congratulations on these 2 that were finally chosen.
All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. C.
I move that Chelsea Rutledge be awarded the contract to paint 2 murals on the water tank located at the Manson's Landing Fire Hall on Cortez Island.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Okay, Growing Communities Fund. That the report from the CAO be received.
Move receipt.
CAO?
Oh, seconder? Second.
Oh, second.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, if I may. So we're halfway through the funding of the growing communities. A number of projects have used the money. Some have used a little less than they've needed. We've accrued some interest, and I've looked at a number of the projects that maybe we could reallocate the funding and have a recommendation before the board to reallocate some of the remaining money in the Growing Communities Fund.
Okay, further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Director Von Esch, did you have something?
No, I was just voting in favor.
Oh, sorry, your
sorry.
light's on. Sorry. Thank you. Okay, B, that the Growing Communities Fund be allocated or reallocated to reflect the amounts shown in the August 15, 2025 report from the CAO.
So moved.
Thank you. Second, where do you got? No, you have to move it. Need a second.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion? All in favor? Oh,
I was just going to say that I was really grateful to the CAO for reallocating the funding towards the Q Cove Sewer Project. I'm looking forward to that work. Thank you.
all in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Director Mawhinney, number 14.
Thank you, Chair. Number 14, permissive tax exemption, Royal Canadian Legion Quadra Branch. Move that the report from the Chief Administrative Officer be received.
Director Wally, discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. B.
I'll move that a bylaw be prepared for the board's consideration, which would allow a permissive tax exemption for 2026 for all land and improvements in property class 08, recreation nonprofit. For Lot A of DL 24, Plan VIP 30584, Sayward District, folio number 772-16713.015, Royal Canadian Legion Branch number 154, Harriet Bay, Quadra Island.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Director Mawhinney, number 15.
Thanks again, Chair. Permissive tax exemption, Surge Narrows Community Association, move that the report from the Chief Administrative Officer be received.
Second. Director Chapman, discussion?
I did have a question for staff on this one, if I may.
Go ahead.
Thank you. The report on this one indicates that BC Assessment says that the property may be eligible for a statutory exemption, while details are still being worked out. I'm just not sure what it means, if it then would require assent of the electors, as was mentioned in the other report, or if BC Assessment does something on the back end and then the board no longer has to annually consider the permissive tax exemption. And I guess the second part of that question would be, will the board be provided an update on this when the details are known, or will it come back to the board in some way?
Yeah, if we know any more details, the board will be advised, and then the statutory exemption would come from the province. So if we heard about it, it would automatically come into effect, and we would need to give them a permissive tax exemption. No, we wouldn't.
Thank you.
Okay, still in receipt. All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. B.
I will move that a bylaw be prepared for the board's consideration that would allow a permissive tax exemption for 2026 for land in property class 08, recreation nonprofit, for District Lot 302, Sayward District, folio number 772-18430.000, Surge Narrows Community Association, Reed Island.
Director Wally, discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Director Von Esch, number 16, please.
Request for financial assistance, Cortes Island Food Bank. I move that the report from the CAO be received.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. B.
I'll move that the board approve a grant for the Cortes Island Food Bank Association in the amount of $5,000 to assist with costs associated with operating costs to be paid from the electoral area B grant and aid budget.
Second.
Director Rice, discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Director Chapman, do you want to take 17, please?
I will. I move that the report from the Chief Administrative Officer be received on the Disaster Risk Reduction and Climate Adaptation Grant invoice processing.
Second.
Discussion?
Again, Mr. Chair, these are just invoices that exceed the CAO's authority.
Thank you. All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. B.
I move that the invoice attached to the August 15, 2025 report from the Chief Administrative Officer for work done by the Hamasco and the Chocolate First Nations be approved for payment.
Discussion?
Second.
Well, let's do that first then. Sure.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Director Sinnott, number 18, please.
I'll make a motion that the report from the CAO be received regarding the Strathcona Gardens Recreate Grant opportunity, and I'll have a subsequent.
Second.
Thank you.
Thank you. I just put this report on anticipating the commission would support that, and I understand Director Sinnott has a motion.
Can we vote on receipt?
On receipt? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Go ahead, Director Sinnott.
I'm just looking for my options here. Yeah, so we have option A.
Yeah.
Why can't I see it when I need it?
It's on the screen.
Oh, there it is. Okay, great. I make a motion that the commission recommend that,
That the board.
the board recommend from the commission's recommendation that an application be submitted to the 2025 Strategic Priority Funds Grant Program to support the construction of the Recreate Phase 2, that's the Rod Brindamore Arena renovation project, and commit to supporting the annual operational costs if the application is successful. And I'll explain why in a second.
Second.
So we had our meeting this morning, and there's an opportunity up to $7 million, and we want to get the money, so that'll help everybody.
And if I can, Mr. Chair, jump on my soapbox for 2 minutes again. We have 2 applications going into this fund. You can get up to $7 million, but this is a program that things need to be shovel-ready, and the more we prepare and have shovel-ready, unfortunately, we do not have more things shovel-ready, and we're having to take a pass on a $7 million opportunity for a number of programs. This is how it works. You have to invest early, have them shovel-ready, ready to go to be able to jump at this. There should be more things that we have available, but we only have these 2 things.
Okay, so all in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion's carried. Director Jack, number 19, please.
Number 19, the Building Bridges Workshop for Elected Officials. A, that the report from the Chief Administrative Officer be received.
Second.
Director Chapman, discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. B.
B, that the regional district host a Building Bridges through Understanding the Village workshop as proposed in the August 15, 2025 report from the Chief Administrative Officer.
Second.
Director Rice, discussion. Director Colburn.
And this will be distributed via email to the municipalities?
Yeah, we're absolutely, we'll include all the municipal members as well. Yeah, and we'll be inviting them and doing our favorite task of finding available dates for them.
That's what that was going to be one of my comments. But I'm also wondering if, is there any opportunity to include any other, elected government? Like, I'm just trying to think about like school district trustees, those kinds of things, or if that is outside of our capacity.
Is that just an effort to make our life more difficult?
No,
yeah.
Not at all. I was just wondering, it's always great to go to. I've done it a couple of times, and I'm wondering if there are people who have already done it who would not be in attendance, if there was added capacity, so I'll talk to you about that privately. Thank you.
I'm just teasing you. If there is organizations we can reach out to and there's capacity, certainly will, yeah.
Thank you for that.
Okay. All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Director Rice.
Thank you, Chair. Item 20, Area D Water Meter Project Payment Authorization. I'd like to move that the report from the Chief Administrative Officer be received.
Second.
Director Chapman, discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried.
I'd like to move item B, that the attached invoice number 20026 dated July 31st, 2025 from Edgett Excavating for work done for Electoral Area D Universal Water Metering Project be approved for payment.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Director Rice.
Item number 1, bylaw number 618, Electoral Area D Fire Protection. I'd like to move that the report from the Chief Administration Officer be received.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. B.
Move item B, that the bylaw number 618, being a bylaw to convert the authority for providing a fire protection service within Electoral Area D, be now introduced and read a first time.
Second.
Dr. Chapman, discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried.
Item C, that the rules be suspended and bylaw number 618 be given second and third readings.
Second.
Director Chapman, discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried.
And item D, that bylaw number 618 be returned for further consideration by the board following approval by the Inspector of Municipalities.
Second.
Director Chapman, discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Director Wally, number 2, please.
Concerning the bylaw number 619, Sayward Fire Department amendment, I move that the report from the CEO be received.
Second.
Director Rice, discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried.
I move that bylaw number 619, being a bylaw to amend the regulations governing the activities of the Saybrook Volunteer Fire Department, be now introduced and read a first time.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed?
Just
Yeah,
the two
just
of us.
sectorial areas. We have weighted vote. Okay,
Is that carried?
carried.
I move that the rules be suspended and bylaw 619 be given second and third readings.
Second.
Okay, in favor? Opposed? Done. Motion is carried.
And further, I move that bylaw number 619, being Saybrook Volunteer Fire Departments establishing bylaw 2024 amendment number 1 be reconsidered, finally passed and adopted.
Second.
In favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion's carried. Director Murwini, number 3.
Thank you, Chair. Bylaw number 620, Kwathiaski Cove sewer rates. Move that the report from the Chief Administrative Officer be received.
Second.
Sorry, who seconded that? Director Colburn? Discussion? In favor? Opposed? None, motion's carried. B,
I'll move that bylaw number 620, being a bylaw to amend the rates charged for use of the Kwathiaski Cove Community Sewer System, be now introduced and read a first time.
Second.
Director Colburn, discussion? Director Murwini?
Thank you, Chair. For anyone that's listening online, I just wanted to let you know that, yes, this is regarding Q Cove sewer rates, and there will be a comprehensive rate review that is being done in 2026. And for that reason, we've only moved the residential rates only up 7% this year in hopes that a comprehensive rate review in 2026 will provide more clear direction for the future. Thanks.
Okay. All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried.
I will move C, that the rules be suspended and bylaw number 620 be given second and third readings.
Second.
Director Colburn, discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried.
And that bylaw number 620 being Kwathiaski Cove Sewer Rates and Regulations Bylaw 2013, Amendment number 8, be now reconsidered, finally passed and adopted.
Second.
Director Wally, discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion's carried. Correspondence. To receive 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Move receipt of correspondence 1 through 5.
Like to pull 1?
I'd like to pull 2.
Then 3 through 5.
Second.
Second, discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion's carried. Director Sinnott, number 1.
Sure, I'd like a motion that the July 29th, 2025 correspondence from the City of Camper regarding forestry policy in BC be received.
Second.
Discussion?
Just want to let everyone know, the City of Camp River is basically the tip of the spear with respect to a number of resource communities that are coming along with us in terms of making a significant lobbying effort at UBCM, including having side sessions and trying to get on the actual agenda with respect to forestry policy and resourced communities. It is an important initiative of the city to maintain the economic foundations of our coastal forest industry. As our council-approved letter has set out, that we're very close to collapse on the coast because of the inability to get permits. I'm going to actually have Councillor Smythe maybe speak to it a bit more because he's more integrated into the forest communities. And we would appreciate probably having a response back from the SRD to support this as potentially even as a team when we go there. And you're all going to be invited to all the sessions that the City of Camp River is going to be sponsoring and advocating for.
Director Wally?
Yeah, question through the chair, Director Sinnott. Is Camp River interested in increasing the AAC? Is that what you guys are doing?
Do you want to?
Our ask in the letter is for the province to actually meet what they've allowed for the AAC.
The AAC is a 5-year. What year are they in their term now?
They're in their first year, but they said for this year, and I don't have the numbers right in front, I'll have to pull it up, but we're just asking them to hit 45.
45 for the budget 30.
Yeah, 45, and they budgeted 30 for this year.
Right. I've worked my whole life in the industry, so I'll just point out to you that, as you well know, I'm sure that the corporations play the markets, and they'll hold off in 1 year to get a better cost for the next year. I mean, markets is what makes these companies work. So I'm sure you're aware of that, but you just can't take 1 year and say you got to meet that target this year. I mean, that's the reason it's set as a 5-year basis.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that is what happens, but that's not what's happening in the case right now. Right now, there's a significant backlog in permitting. And there's companies that have invested millions upon millions of dollars into getting projects done this year, and they can't get the permits done. It's just been a quagmire. And, I work with a lot of logging industries. They're in a very tough times. Their operating costs are extremely high, higher than they've ever been. They're just trying to make things work and keep people working. And the biggest obstacle right now is government. And even the government people within the industry, the government work with the industry, they agree that there's problems here. So the government just needs to really work within their own department and figure out Victoria and clear things up. And that's a message I've heard from so many industry professionals.
Thank you. Director Moini, did you have something? Sorry. Thought you had something to say. Of course you do. Do we have a motion on the correspondence?
I think we're still on receipt, and it was just an explanation. I'll have something subsequent. It's either to have a motion to support Campbell River's initiative and to participate as a complete regional district.
Thank you, Director Moini.
There is, because it seems to me that technology is continually improving. We have feller bunchers and all sorts of things which can, do the job that used to take a whole crew. So is there advocacy for secondary manufacturing within Campbell River or other ways of utilizing the resource rather than hoping that policy changes is the only solution?
Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. Well, there's a couple things in there, but I think essentially, yes, this is a focus on policy, right? And within the reg tape. That is true. There has, like, the automation of the industry has eliminated certain jobs with incredibly improved safety. But at the same time, that's actually opened up more jobs elsewhere in the industry. Like when I started in the industry 20 plus years ago, today there's way more educated biologists in the field that weren't employed future times, right? So what you're doing is you're limiting the more dangerous jobs and increasing the professionalism on the other side. So this is all about jobs. This is really what this is about. So we're not looking at eliminating jobs, we're just making sure that this industry, which is a good industry, can keep on functioning and keep on employing and supporting this community, as well as the other communities around it within the regional district.
Thank you. Director Kerr?
Thank you, Chair. And I think the biggest thing is fiber supply, and all sectors depend on that. And there's been a restriction of fiber supply, and this goes back years. If you look at the graph, it's going down. And you can't have new industry coming in, being sawmills or any new industry to the area unless you have a guaranteed fiber supply, and that doesn't exist right now.
Thank you, Director Sinnott.
Yeah, I just want to say we often lose sight of how the ability of people to work in remote and difficult locations has led to an incredible resource of innovative people that come out of our forest industry. if we don't face those tough conditions, we don't have those problem solvers and all the ancillary other benefits they provide. The road builders maintain the roads to places like Zabalas, but they also road build because that's how they make money in the forest industry. They provide recreational access because the roads are maintained by the logging companies, so it helps tourism in remote locations. We also have people like TMAR who are coming out with a new hybrid electric falling equipment, right? So these are things that are happening locally, which are high tech and are benefiting ourselves. This industry is fundamental and really important. It isn't just people out there chopping down trees with axes or chainsaws anymore. And then we even have Councillor Smythe, who's in our industry, is involved with forestry, and then because they're there for wildfire fighting. So these things are integrated and important. So that's why the City of Campbell River recognizes that importance, and I hope everyone else will agree with our further support for this policy approach to not be in paralysis for the province.
On receipt, Director Wally.
Yeah, I was just going to put it I'm in favor of improving the regulations to streamline the process, but don't forget that we're suffering the consequences of 70 years of massive overcutting. We destroyed all our winter zones, logged them in the summer because they were cheap, easy wood, and now we're paying the price for it. So that's part of the equation as well.
On receipt, all in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Director Sinnott?
Yeah, so this is off the top of my head. I didn't come with anything from the City of Campbell River. So it's a motion to respond to the City of Campbell River with the recognition that the SRD supports this initiative and looks forward to participating at UBCM and meeting and learning further from the City of Campbell River.
Second.
Discussion? Director Mulroney?
Thank you. I completely understand the importance of this industry to the City of Campbell River and to the residents as well, of course. But I'm curious, you're talking about offering some like sessions at UBCM. I personally would be interested in hearing from people who are experts. Like you're saying, there's lots of like educated folks. Is that the kind of folks that you're planning on bringing here so that we'll be hearing from people who are boots on the ground? Because I know here, like, we're local government, and of course we're advocating for employment and for the industries in our communities, but I don't necessarily think that we're necessarily qualified to have that like in-depth knowledge. So I'm just curious what kind of sessions you're planning on holding with what sorts of folks.
Did the regional district have the truck loggers come and present to them? I think you did.
We have had a few resource organizations. I think they have.
We went to the Natural Resources Committee, maybe.
Yeah, at Natural Resources, I believe they have, yeah. We've had a number of industry experts. That's basically what we've done at the Natural Resources Committee, is have industry experts present at that committee. And I think truck loggers was one of them.
Yes, it was.
I'm only speaking from a vague recollection. I believe Dallas Smith is going to be participating because we have the coordinated Western Forest products with the First Nations logging industry. We're going to have other members from different organizations in different resources potentially presenting. I'm not sure the complete agenda, and I'm not even sure whether UBCM is granted us a space, but we're going to definitely have another alternate space right across from the Empress Hotel. So I'm sure it'll be educational. It's also showing support, and there's a number of regional communities from the north that are forest dependent that are very interested in learning more as well.
Okay, Director Bonesh.
Thank you. Just looking at the letter, and just to clarify, what you're really asking this board is to get behind these three solutions here that you have, which is to pause new restrictions until current policy reviews are complete, streamline approval processes with firm, reliable timelines, develop policies tailored to the coast's unique geography, not one-size-fits-all rules. Are those the three things you're asking the board to kind of sort of stand behind here?
Yes, as well as learning more and participating at the UBCM if you can.
Yeah. Personally, I'm happy. I want to learn more and participate. And the streamlining of approval processes with firm, reliable timelines, that makes sense to me. I think cutting red tape and having clarity for everyone is important. And developing policies tailored to the coast's unique geography, not one-size-fits-all rules, that makes sense to me. the pausing new restrictions until current policy reviews are complete, that's trickier for me. It seems like it's like, take away all the restrictions until this policy review is complete. So I don't know if there's any clarity there or.
I think those were announced not at Kofi, they were announced at truck loggers. So what happened is a bit of a surprise. Minister Forrest comes in and says, we're going to do another complete policy review. We're like, are you kidding us? Another one? And until then, nothing's really happening. So things got worse. That the perception is that things are worse. Now, maybe the Minister of Forest would say they aren't, but there seems to be a lot of pain in the industry. And so we're saying you can't always just say we can't do anything until we have perfection. You can continue on with doing what you've been doing, and we'll manage as we go.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. And I just want to touch on something that Councillor Sinnott said. Everybody knows here I work in helicopters, and the Port Alberni fire was probably one of the biggest fires, was definitely on the island for sure this year. Our crew were the first one on scene, right, with one of our machines. We've had 2 machines on there. We're actually based out of the Western Forest Product base with Coastal Fire. So it's our base that Coastal Fire is operating out of on that fire. And we provide the base for free. And we released that section off of Western Forest Products. There we got Coastal Fire Center, which are great. We have a great relation with them. They're the employees fighting it, but the vast majority of contractors, including us, are forestry workers. So for the other 10 months of the year, they're around, including the aircraft and the pilots, all the followers that are all on that job. They're all employed by forestry for the rest of the year, logging industry. And they're all super happy right now, including our crew, because it's just a steady work, let's go get this fire out. But for the rest of the year, it's touch and go. Because permits are coming in and maybe we go, okay, we got a couple weeks work here, okay, we can get this done. Who knows what's gonna happen next? There's gonna stall, something else jumps up, okay, let's go do this. It's not a steady, healthy industry right at this point. And if this gets any worse than it is now, you're gonna lose those resources during the fire season. So I really wanna make that point.
Okay, Director Kerr.
Thank you, Chair. And the City of Campbell River is leading this charge, but really we're advocating for the whole North Island and all the rural communities that, it's not just the forest industry, the forest companies, but it's the people who live in the North Island that depend on that for the companies for work and for lifestyle.
Thank you. Director Mawhinney.
I was just hoping that we can see the motion on the board before we vote on it. Because it's kind of lost in my mind exactly what, there is a motion somewhere?
We don't have it, other than we would replay the recording. So if somehow Director Sinnott could repeat in whole or in part there. But I believe it was in a letter of support recognizes, respond to the letter with a letter of support recognizing the 3 items that were identified on there.
Right, expressing an interest to learn more and to participate, if it's possible, at UBCM.
Okay. All in favor? Opposed? Director Von Esch and Director Mawhinney. Okay. Motion is carried. Number 2, Director Mawhinney.
Thank you, Chair. I'll move receipt of the correspondence from the Kumugwi Cultural Society.
Discussion? Go ahead.
Following receipt, I would like to move referral of this to the First Nations Relations Committee.
All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Go ahead, Director Mawhinney.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to move referral of this correspondence from the Kumugwi Cultural Society to the First Nations Relations Committee.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Director Jack, discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Number 4, Director Chapman.
I think that's always.
No? Oh, that's right, we just pulled them. I apologize. No, that's okay. Q, Director Mawini.
Thank you, Chair. I hope that my fellow directors have had a chance to take a look at this report. I have, and there were links included in the report that FCM, Federation of Canadian Municipalities, is looking for elected representatives, elected members of the FCM.
Sorry to interrupt.
Oh,
We
yeah.
need to-
Do you need me to just move receipt first, or?
Yes, please.
Oh, gosh, got ahead of myself, so sorry. Move receipt. Thank you.
Second.
Discussion.
Okay, well, as I said. So they're looking for members who are not members of their board to participate in policy committees on various subjects. And in order to actually apply, first, before you can apply, you have to have a motion from the board that would support, I guess, any meeting pay expenses, which FCM doesn't pay for. And as far as I can tell from the schedule, the meetings are twice a year and they're online. So, yeah, I'm hoping that folks here are willing to support this motion that's included in the report that I submitted. And then I can apply and see if FCM thinks I'm diverse enough.
Okay, on receipt, all in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Do you have a secondary motion?
I do. Should I read out all those whereases that they recommended? Just go to the that's. Be it resolved that the Strathcona Regional District Board of Directors endorse Robin Mawini to serve as a committee member on committees of FCM's Board of Directors for the period starting in June 2025 until the end of the elected term of October 2026. And be it further resolved that meeting pay, travel, and expense claims not reimbursed through FCM be paid for from the electoral area administration function.
Director Wally, discussion? Director Sinnott?
Absolutely not. I don't think the positions that affect the North Island, and particularly the economics and the conflicts that we have, particularly with the director from Quadra Island, will represent the board and particularly the area of Campbell River, so I'm not in favor of this.
Further discussion? Director Mawini?
Thank you, Chair. There's quite a list of policy committees that they are looking for membership on. Those include climate change, environmental stewardship, quite a few other options as well, affordable housing and advancing reconciliation. So I am hopeful that the directors here will support that. Thank you.
Okay, further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Okay, Director Rice, Director Kerr, Director Sinnott, Director Smythe, Director Lanyon, Director Chapman, and Baker.
I have 7 opposed.
7 opposed, the motion is defeated. Amendment item,
I would move that the addendum item be considered.
discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. The August 7th, 2025 correspondence from Bowen Island Municipality regarding the ferry-dependent communities gathering at UBCM be received.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion? Go ahead.
This is up to us all to RSVP as individually, right? Perfect, thank you.
Discussion? Further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Closed session.
Move that the report from the Chief Administrative Officer be received.
Second.
Discussion.
There was an item of new business.
Was there?
Yes. There's a motion that I pass on to staff.
I'm sorry, go ahead. I don't have it.
Okay. If staff could bring that up, please. What this is regarding is I'm looking for support from the regional district for the Village of Tassus, myself representing, to have a meeting directly with the Minister of Transportation and Industry regarding the Head Bay Forest Service Road. It's the only road that accesses Tassus. It's continued to deteriorate. It's in really bad condition at this point. And I have tried for the last few years to get a meeting with the minister, and I'm consistently being refused and passed down to lower levels of staff. We're having a lot of development happening in Tassus, a great increase in tourism, especially this year. But the condition of the road is rendering it more and more dangerous for the levels of traffic that we get.
I'm going to second that motion.
Sorry. I just jumped right in there, but thanks. But we're not getting any traction with the Minister of Transportation. Our ultimate goal was to get the entire road paved. In the last few years, we've had an additional 12.5 kilometers paved. And if this happens, it'll be a huge boost to tourism and a great improvement to the economic viability of our community. While I'm saying this, there is a new resort being built in town. There's a new marina coming next year. And if we're really going to succeed in all of this, we need better access to our community in terms of having a road that isn't causing damage to vehicles. Like tomorrow, I'm getting a spring replaced on my truck, which I broke on the road. And this is happening to other people. So the community has asked me to bring this forward here, and I'm doing that. So I'm just looking for support for the Village of Tassus in having a meeting directly with the Minister of Transportation. Thanks.
Okay, first, Director Colburn.
How frustrating. Understanding what this challenge is like and how many years and years and years of advocacy it takes, even when you get meetings with ministry. My suggestion, of course, would be to go, I know that it's a Modi road, but it also is forestry road and it is in pieces and parts. And Claire Trevena was the only reason, as far as I'm concerned, that the road got worked on as it did in our area. So I can hear the frustration and I see it happening. And of course, on all of the Tassus pages that I'm a member of, it is a constant fight. And so I would move. I would definitely support this. I think that that's what UBCM is. And if they're flat out not giving you a meeting with the minister, all the more reason to see him.
Okay, Director Rice, then Director Chapman.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to say to Director Davies that I had an instance this summer on that very road, and I was coming down the 15% grade. I actually got run off the road with my big truck and my camper and my boat. Basically because the road is unsafe, somebody couldn't navigate the tight turn, and I had nowhere to go. And my camper ended up getting damaged. The boat that I was towing ended up getting damaged. So it's quite significant. I used to travel that road quite a bit. You know, I like going up to Moocha Bay. I like going up to the other bays that are back there, but the road is quite challenging. So I can sympathize with you. Thank you.
Director Chapman.
Thank you, Chair. I support this resolution. I was wondering, should we include the Forest Service Road going into Zabalas? No? Okay, so I support this, and thank you.
Okay, Director Colburn.
We have our own issues, but that shouldn't negate from Tassus's issue for sure. And, you know, hearing studies like this just popped into my head. I don't know if Minister of Forest should be CC'd and also the Minister of Public Safety. Just saying.
Okay, Director Smythe.
Yeah, thanks. I'm sympathetic to this. Just a very ignorant question. Who owns that road? Is it a BC Forest Service road or is it a Ministry of Transport road?
If I could, it is a Forest Service road.
So it's up to the forestry companies to maintain it?
It's under contract right now. Main Road maintains the road. The forestry companies do work on bridges, bridge installations, those sort of things. Yeah.
And those forestry companies have no money right now.
They don't fund that directly. It's like if they have equipment in the area, and then I guess the ministry funds it, and the companies do the work under contract to them.
So regarding the motion, all in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Okay, folks, you have a choice. Go right into in camera, or did you want to take a 10-minute break? Sorry, hands up on 10-minute break. Oh, quite a few.
Only if you guys do security sweep.
Okay, we will be back here in 10 minutes. 2:45.
You guys should do security. Take Julie with me. She's pretty first.
She's a security.
Scares me.
Hey, she does security coverage. Hey,
Should what?
Doug? She does security coverage. Oh yeah, she's one of those.
I'll make your shirt, Carol.
Thank you.
Yeah,
You know what that is?
No, I had something to do, but then I
Shot
was
him in the hand. He's still there. Shot the president. Victor Organas. Not there. Do him up opium.
you can't even detect Okay.
So did you buy that, or did you have it made?
Believe it or not, the president had it made.
I'm sure Trump has these.
Yeah, it's the same thing. The president had it.
I heard him yesterday, he's a war hero. Oh, yeah. Never. How you can be a draft dodger and a war hero at the same time as a fighting.
Yeah, it takes talent. It takes money. You know, one of the big problems of the forest industry, though, is the government has given so much of our land to First Nations. They're not allowed to do that. There's no revenue coming from there. And you know, Major Bay's on strike right now, right?
Yeah.
You know what they're demanding? No union crews. They only want a contract crew, and that contract crew must be First Nations. Western gave them a veto, and they don't want to pay any stumpage because after all, it's their land.
Yeah.
That's where we're going. We're broke. Put the tariff on top of that.
Yeah. Yeah, what are people gonna build houses out of soon? No.
Has to be Adobe.
Yeah.
Well, there's this, it's a brick. It's about, it's that long, that wide, about that high. And it's like a Lego thing. They walk in and you.
Right?
I was amazed to see.
Well, if you know trees, you gotta make houses out of bricks or something else, you
What's it
know?
made of?
Yeah, probably hog fuel or something.
I bought a saw blade the other day for cutting steel 2x4s.
Steel tube, wow.
A lot of the industrial construction is steel.
It's probably an expensive blade though.
$50,
Well,
but
that's not bad.
you know, it'll cut through. I was cutting 1/4-inch aluminum.
Oh, wow.
Like something.
Cotton that you buy.
There we go. Ceramac or something too.
Okay, the report from the CAO, closed session, that the report from the CAO be received.
Second.
Second, Director Rice, discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. B, that the meeting will be closed to the public to permit considerations of the matters deemed within follow the parameters of subsections 90-1A, E, F, G, I, J, N, and O of the Community Charter.
So moved.
Thank you. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none? Motion. And now we'll go into closed.